Welcome back to Absolutely. I'm mad. All right, so.
Penny's upset.
Wow.
Okay, I'm sick and freaking tired of all these people complaining, whining, bitching, and moaning about spoilers. We are in a world where Miss Marvel's finale happened, and I won't spoil it in this video or what we're doing right now, but Miss Marvel's finale happened, and within minutes, it was spoiled on the internet. Minutes. Yep. But I post up a short, a 45-second short, revealing what happens to Homelander in a goddamn comic book that came out 15 freaking years ago. I get comments like, oh my God, you're spoiling. You gotta put spoiler tags. What is wrong with you? You're spoiling a freaking comic. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I even posted, this is hilarious that all of you are complaining about spoilers because you're all bitching and moaning about a comic book that came out 15 years ago. 15 years ago. And the response was, well, some people just started watching The Boys. Maybe they want to go read the comics. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Even if that's the logic, the show started 3 years ago. 3! That means that you've had 3 years to mightily go read the comic book. What is wrong with the world right now is the point of this isn't just me ranting, that's the beginning of this video. I want to know what the hell's the point of this, because here, this is what sparked this whole discussion. Hassan over here hasn't seen the newest Fast and the Furious movie. And Dylan and I were talking about space, and his reaction was, you're spoiling it for me. So what is the rule, Hassan? What is the rule?
So I'm gonna go and say, Betty, I was obviously trying to tease you a little bit. You started our entire call with being angry about spoilers. But let's get into that, because what sociopath is even reading the Boys comic? Like, I know we're adapting it to screen, and the screen adaptation's great. I don't know what sadist, masochist, horrific monster wrote that story.
People that don't know.
It's
Garth Ennis wrote it.
I just recorded volume 1 for Patreon. It is terrible. It is,
oh my God.
We have so much censoring to do. It's like, and then Starlight was alone with 3 guys who took their pants off. Cut away.
Yep. And then it pans to Starlight in the bathroom with one girl. Also, the exact same thing happens. It's so much worse in the comics. And it's like, dude, what? Who cares? It's 100%. You can tell. It's like people who are like, hey, don't tell me spoilers about the MCU from the comics. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, that's a real sentence. Regular, everyday people think that comic books have already, like, put out, and then movies are just one-to-one recreations of comic books. That's literally what the average everyday Joe thinks. Hopefully they're getting smarter.
It's like a weird... I feel like all of this came from Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones... Like, I haven't seen Game of Thrones, and get at me in the comments for that. I dare you. But...
Don't worry. It doesn't end well.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No, I'm aware. But like Game of Thrones was like one of the first times where it's like there's this weird relationship with spoilers where like people who have read the books know things and the books are so ahead. And as far as I know, like that was a thing where like you could spoil something
Harry
if
Potter
you read
too.
the books for people. Yeah, well, Harry Potter's like different because the movies were coming out and the series wasn't finished yet. But there was a moment where that wasn't the case.
Right.
But yeah, Harry Potter also. That was more like people yelling book spoilers the night the book came out.
But the point I'm making, and I want to ask you guys about this, is you jokingly said that we're spoiling Fast 9, and I know in all honesty you wouldn't have been mad at us if we happened to say something.
Who cares?
I believe we spoiled
Fast
something else for you last week. You jumped into the chat right when we were saying like a key plot point to something.
We're talking about Thor.
I literally joined the call before I got to watch, what was it? It was Thor Love and Thunder.
Yeah,
Thor Love
and
and
I was
Thunder.
like spoiling something.
Betty's like saying, says, I didn't. I lucked out. I managed to hear like a sentence. And I was like, I don't even sort of understand that. My little headphone toggle's right here. So I just turned the mic entirely off. And
we were doing the review. I wasn't like openly spoiling Thor. I just want that known.
I just joined it at the wrong time.
Relevant.
But that's the point I'm making, because people are bitching and moaning that I didn't put spoiler tags in a Homelander in 60 seconds review where I didn't even spoil it for 45 seconds in. And that's my argument. You clicked the video because shorts don't autoplay. They don't autoplay like regular YouTube videos. You have to scroll through them.
If they do it depending on the player.
Yeah.
Well, you would still have to scroll through to get them to autoplay. What I'm saying is you had 30 seconds
Sure.
to scroll to the next short. Like it didn't
That's
autoplay in the
fair.
background.
Yeah.
You didn't finish a video. It went to my video and it
That's
played in the
fair.
background. And you couldn't
absolutely,
cancel it. Yeah, that's what I mean. So in what world are we in? And here's the kicker. At first I thought people were trolling. They weren't. Because if you go look at that video right now, which has over 1 million, like 2 million, 3 million views, it's blowing up because people keep commenting, which I love. And I made a statement saying how funny I find it that all you people are saying you might have read the books finally. Like, and the books came out 15 years ago, and the show started 3 years ago, and you now might have read it. And the comments is like, I just saw it yesterday, which is what this came back around. There's 84 responses to that. People trying to get me to admit it's a spoiler fest. The latest one that reintegrated this whole like what the hell's wrong with these people is a guy going, bro, just admit it. You did spoilers. You should repost it and say spoilers. And I'm like, I'm fucking reposting a 3 million view video about a comic that came out 15 years ago.
Yeah, you're not going to repost it until like a few months from now when Boys Back in the News, then you should definitely repost it so you can get more views. Straight up. Yeah, I'm not 100%. But no, they did the same thing. So when Multiverse of Madness came out, I did a review with Comicstorian on the short stuff side of things, and that shared both my Instagram and theirs. And it was like very clear spoiler warnings. I put a banner behind me that spoilers. I had a GIF above my head that said spoilers. And then I talked about the ending. And then they were literally in the comment section, hey, it's terrible of you to be putting spoilers in a video this early. Didn't even watch it because that's so ridiculous of you to do that. It's only been 3 days since the thing came out. There are full, like, 30, 45-minute breakdown reviews out already of this shit.
Right.
I just gave you a minute synopsis and told you what I liked and what I didn't like. That's not the same thing. And people just, they get so aggressive about it. If there's something that I really, really love.
Well, I feel like in the last 6 or 7 months, we've hit a new level of spoiler matter. Because, like, Spider-Man. Let's go back to Spider-Man No Way Home. Okay? People, even though that was the worst kept secret in the MCU ever.
A movie that spoiled itself.
Right. People still didn't talk about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield for at least 2 to 3 weeks. That wasn't, like, openly out there unless you were following those accounts.
I will also say, real quick aside about that, Iman Vellani just did an AMA on Reddit and confirmed that Marvel security does make fake leaks and plants them. So I don't even want to... Like,
Nice.
Obviously, those ones were real for No Way Home, but, like, it's interesting. She was talking about a specific one. I don't remember it because I don't follow leaks, but
right.
It's interesting
Well, there was like a spoiler embargo on that, but everyone was like one of those deals of like, I really want to talk about this. But then we got to like Multiverse of Madness, and people were just like that day blowing out the Illuminati stuff.
Yeah.
And then Thor: Love and Thunder had nothing to spoil, so no one spoiled it. But Miss Marvel, that morning I woke up to thumbnails.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I think when you got to Multiverse of Madness, that is kind of, in my opinion, and this is going to be in a greater conversation about Phase 4 for later, but like I think that's the clear downfall. I think Spider-Man No Way Home set expectations so high, and then it met expectations for the first time since Endgame. Like, expectations were sincerely met. Shang-Chi is incredible. I'm not talking about that one. But, expectations were genuinely...
expectations for that.
Yeah, no one did, and that's why I did great.
Well, you're right about that, because I guess the reason I bring this up is why am I getting flack for spoiling a boys comic book from 15 years ago? But people can come out and reveal the Miss Marvel stuff now. They can reveal the Illuminati immediately.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you don't know that they're not getting shit in their inbox.
Well, but what I'm saying is, like, if the shit giving was equalized, like, it's not going to stop me. It's not going to stop them. But I didn't see people giving anyone shit for the Illuminati. Nobody was like, I would look at the Twitter things because I wanted to have this kind of a discussion back then. What is okay? Because whenever we have a big spoiler thing, I like to have that discussion. What is the rule now? I'd say that we are so in this industry. What is the rule now? And I like to have those discussions, but it seems to be all over the place now. Don't spoil the boys comics from 15 years ago, but let's talk about the ending of Miss Marvel. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just like it's personal preference, and you have to just do whatever measures you want to take personally to avoid stuff like that. Like, I've talked about this before, that I really don't like spoilers of any kind, even fake ones. Yeah. So I stay away from that stuff as soon as possible. Like when I knew that Thor was premiered like a week or 2 weeks before the actual release date of it.
It did a long time before.
So I had Twitter locked on my phone.
Well, I will say this though.
Spoiled, but
now that we've all seen Thor, there's nothing to spoil. There's nothing to spoil.
Right. That's why nothing was leaked. But like with like something like Multiverse of Madness, even that, like I don't really care. Like with No Way Home, I knew about Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, but that was just because like that's probably the most prevalent leak that's ever been. Like I wasn't seeking that out, but
which.
Impossible to avoid.
There is a conversation about what we are being robbed because of these leaks and because of excessive trailers. Because we go back to Multiverse of Madness. Why was the Illuminati spoiled? because they showed it in a trailer, like the week of trailer had the Illuminati in it multiple times. It literally showed clear images of them. It was ridiculous. And Haley Atwell, Patrick Stewart, and gosh, I can't remember Monica Rambeau's actor's name, Lashana Lynch. They were all at the premiere, like at the red carpet premiere before the movie, and everyone's taking pictures of them. And there's a really loud guy who was like, Patrick Stewart, I wonder why Patrick Stewart is here. Like shut up. It's so dumb. But that, like, I was near that red carpet when that was happening. But yeah, it's so frustrating. But the things that we're getting robbed because of spoilers now, I remember there's a YouTuber, he's a comic book YouTuber that I don't love him, but before Endgame and before Infinity War had come out, Endgame was still a year out. They leaked set photos and they were talking about the bracelets they were wearing. And it wasn't even like I watched the video. In the thumbnail, it basically said, time travel, this, and then pointing at Captain America's suit, first Avenger 1. They're going to time travel back to Avenger 1. And obviously that movie didn't matter as much, but when you go to Spider-Man No Way Home, the original game plan for them was, we're going to market it as a Civil War movie between Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. We're never going to include any of the villains in this. Like, we're not going to include villains in any of the marketing. And then you're going to go to the movie, and it's going to blow your fucking mind. It's going to be the craziest thing you ever see on screen. Yeah. And then freaking Jamie Foxx tweeted a picture of his thing. And then Alfred Molina confirmed his thing. And then Tobey Maguire pictures got leaked. Andrew Garfield pictures got leaked. And it's like, what we were robbed... Could you just imagine that comic book experience? We go in to see Spider-Man Civil War. I don't even like Doctor Strange. And then you sit down... And then Willem Dafoe, like Alfred Molina, shows up on the bridge.
Yeah. I mean, I go back to this, and I know this ages me quickly, but I miss the days of The Matrix, where I didn't see The Matrix for like a year and a half after it came out. And every time someone would bring it up, you got to see The Matrix. What happens to The Matrix? Well, I'm not going to tell you. You got to see it. And that's why it took me a year and a half to see it, because I was like, oh, I don't know what it's about. I have no rush. But when I still saw it, I was like, what? What's the internet? No,
that's a good. That's something I wanted to bring up. Is like among your own like friend circles, I think spoilers have a different relationship. Where it's like, yeah, if someone hasn't seen a movie that's been out for like 25 years, and they ask you not to spoil it for them, like then don't save that conversation for a different time. Even though something might be out for like a week or a month or a year.
To go back to the beginning of this, if you had legitimately hustled and be like, hey guys, no, I really want to see Fast 9. I just haven't had time.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have gone into a fun little rant about it, but it's because of the way you did it. And it was like,
Of course. And there are people like I bully my older sister. Her and I were watching like all the Smallville Arrowverse shows together for a really long time. And then in I think 26 or 2017, she missed an episode. And then she just got behind and never caught back. We're talking like she, to this day, is still on Arrow from 2016 episodes. And I will bring up spoilers and she'll be like, why are you saying that? Like, I don't want to hear it. Talk to anyone else. And I'm like, Oliver Queen dies, Sana. He's been dead. He's been dead for 4 years now. What do you want from me?
I'm waiting for the CW to get desperate to bring back Arrow. He's revived!
They brought him back in the tie-in comic already. They brought it back. They did a future comic where it's like the Justice League of the future in the Arrowverse, which you should probably cover at some point because it's okay.
The three people that are left will care.
Yeah. No, they bring back Oliver as the Spectre, so he's still there as that version of Oliver Queen.
So they pulled the Green Lantern with him. Got it.
Right. Well, Stephen Amell talked about it. He'd be willing to come back for like a HBO Max version of Arrow. 7 to 10 episodes, high production value, tells one narrative concisely start to finish. Different Earth, so he gets to be Arrow, but doesn't have to deal with the baggage of his Arrow. I would love that. And hey, that's not a spoiler if you guys think that that's going to happen in the future because Stephen Amell mentioned it. It's not a goddamn spoiler if it happens in 5 to 10 years because it might.
This is another thing is like the people like to joke sometimes. Like I have some friends who like to make up fake spoilers because they know that I don't like spoilers, and those bother me just as much because I'm like, shut up. I don't want to think, and I know this is a lot to ask from people, but like this is why I take the measures I do to hide myself away from spoilers and trailers and everything, because I don't want to think about the product that I'm enjoying. Because like especially when a lot of these movies, especially lately, are very predictable and thought out, like. If I don't want to sit down and think about the next whatever Marvel movie and have it all figured out in my head before I see it because it's a simple plot. Like I want to just go in and let that wash over me and then be like, oh, that was a simple plot.
Yeah. So I mean, I agree with you. I think because every time we've done this, I make a video, and the rule used to be 2 weeks. 2 weeks, no one talks about what happens in the movie unless you give a billion to what spoiler things. You don't put it out on things like Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
And
No
back then it was
thumbnail.
fine, but you never bothered with any of that stuff. But now it's like, no, if you're doing this as a business, you can spoil it day one and just deal with the flack from it because it'll go away.
Right.
It'll go away and you're gonna be fine. And I'm not a fan of that, but I feel like that's the age we're in. I'm going to keep to the way we do our stuff, where I don't like spoiling. Like, we could have easily done the Miss Marvel spoiler discussion Wednesday and dropped it Wednesday morning, and, like, we could have done that. We could have done Thor or Easter egg without Sal, but I prefer to do our fun discussions and properly respect our viewers because I'm not going to do that. And if we do a spoiler thing, it's because everyone on social media has blown it so wide open it doesn't even matter. Like we did the Multiverse of Madness Illuminati, I think 4 days after the movie came out. But at that point, the whole movie was like on the internet. Like
It also like wasn't. I don't know if I put stuff like that in the thumbnail, but like whenever I try to make the thumbnails for those discussions, I try to keep things as vague as possible. But like if we're talking about like I think I did put Reed Richards in one of the thumbnails. I think it was for our Easter egg talk, but that was also after. That was well after everyone knew already. Everyone who cared knew.
Right.
But I think we did something like this. I don't remember what it was, but it was Benny, Yumi, and Sal. We did a video here where everyone was talking about something to do with maybe No Way Home, and we weren't going to talk about it, but we talked about it because everyone was talking about it.
Yeah, that was another one. I think it was Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that our relationship with spoilers is going to change pretty dramatically with the new introduction of we're releasing movies at home as well as in theaters at the same time and a couple weeks later. So it's going to continue to evolve. I don't necessarily love that model. I don't know about you guys. I know that the novelty of movie theaters have really waned on other people, but for me, it's like
movie theaters.
Movie theaters are one of my favorite experiences.
I still like the experience.
I do too.
The problem I have with theaters, and this is probably a talk for another day, because you go out, you're doing something outside, you're in a nice lounge chair, you get
a guy
if
next
you go
to
to a
you
nice
on
one,
his
you
phone
can
the
get,
whole time.
I mean, you can bitch and moan about it all you want, but the fact is, you're not going to have Dolby sound and a giant screen in front of you. Now, there are just as many downsides.
Good enough. at home.
No, you do not. You do not at all. No, I don't believe.
Listen, I will say, genuinely, I went to see Thor: Love and
My
Thunder
theater room
at
is closer
AMC.
to an actual movie theater than you have.
I'm sure,
I'm
but
calling
listen.
you on bullshit right now.
Here's what I'm saying. I went to go see Thor: Love and Thunder at a laser AMC screen, and it looked fine, but the audio was dog shit. My audio setup sounded way better than
So
that.
what I
When
was
I
gonna-
IMAX my AMC, it sounded incredible. Like that
What I
was
was
one of
gonna
the
say,
best
here's
stuff.
the
it's
problem,
different
though.
theaters.
Because a theater experience has a 50-50 shot of being that experience that is worth going to.
Yeah.
Because you could have stale popcorn, bad chicken fingers, a screaming kid one aisle in
don't
front
eat
of
at
you, a
theaters
guy on his
anymore.
phone to your right. You could have bad audio quality because the audio mix wasn't good. There's so many things that ruin the theater experience.
It was just too quiet. The theater that I don't know. It was very strange.
But
was a
that's
small
why
theater,
I
too.
like the home experience, though. Like the chairs
Yeah,
that
same.
Natalie and I bought for mine are better than the theater chairs now. It's getting to the
Yeah.
point where it's like, it's really a debate. Do we just wait for home? Because like if we go and I get that amazing experience, I love it. That for me, I love movies. I love the theater experience when it's good.
Yeah.
But I've also been to just as many bad ones.
Right,
me,
and that's like,
like-
for it's time and time again. Like almost every time I go to the theater now, there's something that bothers me about it. And I have my like my TV isn't great, but the audio setup that I just recently bought is pretty good, and it's like the best that I've ever had, and it's good separation, and it's loud, and I can watch movies in a great way. And the best thing is that I can make it as loud as I want, I can make it as quiet as I want.
Yeah.
And there's nobody to bother me while I'm watching it.
And there's also something to be said when I see kind of like not a movie I was expecting. I can pull out my phone and not feel guilty. Oh, that scene sucks. What's going on Twitter?
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Well, and then for me, there are movies that like have been elevated by the theater experience. Like I think Endgame, the very first showing of Endgame, because I saw Endgame twice opening day. I saw it in the morning by myself, and then I went to go drive an hour with my friends at college to go watch it with them too. And it was like the both crowds were incredible, and I was so happy
Totally.
that it was just like the reveals, the screaming when Cap gets the hammer, this moment. It was, and then when Spider-Man No Way Home came out, I saw it opening night as well in the theaters, and oh my God, the electric feeling of just feeling pure bliss and joy in a room full of people experiencing that as well. Nothing has ever been like it. Andrew Garfield pulling off the mask, and then just the cheers and the like when he's running
Well, I mean,
through the
I
portal.
hate people cheering in a theater and clapping and stupid shit like that. When I went to go see Thor, there was this fucking like 15-year-old kid. I'm swearing about this one because this kid was just so annoying, and I almost got up and just was like, "What is wrong with you?" At the end of the movie, he thought he was going to be so clever to try and impress these two girls. This is the only reason I didn't go tell him how fucking stupid he's being. He's like 2 seats over from me, and at the end of the movie, he's doing this.
Okay. Well,
Oh
we
my
hate.
God,
We
I
hate.
would've lost my
But like
mind.
every 2 minutes, every 2 minutes.
We hate that kind of thing for sure. But like, I love when it's everyone. Like it happens more like. I don't know how many anime movie screenings you have gone to, but that is like always the case when you go to an anime screening. Like I've seen the My Hero movies and the Dragon Ball
Oh, the My Hero movies are great. I can't wait to see My Hero My Hero Dragon Ball Superhero.
My
I think
Hero Dragon Ball.
it's very much an atmosphere thing. Like Endgame is the one time that I was like, yeah, because I was also participating in that, and I think it's it's a mixed bag because like people in my Multiverse of Madness screening were losing their minds, and it was really annoying.
Yeah.
I hate
like,
when people do that shit, and I can't hear the lines. I can't hear the next line of the
Yeah.
fucking movie because they're just like, oh
Yeah,
my
now
God,
now in the
Patrick
movies
Stewart showed up.
they
Right.
like bake in silence for applause,
Yeah.
which is so stupid.
That's
I just-
that actually
I don't
is
like it.
ridiculous.
When it's like, because in Endgame, it's like people were so happy, and it's the height of like, their love for this. It's the culmination of 10 years of planning. Like that's a different thing. That's like a cultural event. But like when Elizabeth Olsen just shows up in Multiverse of Madness because she's basically the title character, and people start trying to clap, it's like, why? Like, shut up.
Yeah. Well, and for me, I guess when it comes to the Marvel movies, if I really, really love it, I will always go see it twice. And superhero movies in general, I think if I really like it, I'm always going to want to see it twice in theaters. So I'm never too stressed out about like missing a line. I'm very, very invested in that experience. But that's super relative to me. So like what I did, I saw Spider-Man No Way Home opening night with like a different group of friends because they invited me last minute because they had an opening night ticket. The next day I had booked out a theater for like $200 for all of my friend group to come see in just like a private theater with just us in it, which is great. I will say, I was so sad
Weird
that a lot
flex,
of them.
but okay.
It's not a weird flex, Benny. You know, it's like
$100 is not a weird
200
flex.
No, I know.
$200 for like 20 people. It's
I know.
$10 a person. It's
I've
cheaper
done
than-
that too. I've done that too.
But it's great.
During the COVID time when
great
they were
deal.
all the theaters were trying to
Yeah.
just get people.
The theater next to my house, for some reason, is still like just doing it. You could do it whenever for any movie. It's great.
That's awesome.
But I felt bad that they didn't have the same experience as me because I don't think it was fun and it was cool to watch them like see the reveals for the first time and experience moments. But I think the energy of like the bigger theater and more people was just amplified that movie to 11. Because when we're going back and we're talking about like the nostalgia of the movie, I feel like me and my friends who saw it opening night have a very different perspective on it than my friends who saw it in our private screening. Whatever.
Right.
But spoiler discussion turned to theater discussion.
So I was like, this is the whole weird discussion. I'm going to wrap this one up so we can talk about Ms. Marvel next. This has been absolutely, I don't even know what Dylan's going to title this. It was just a random evergreen. I just had to get that off my chest about the new rules of spoilers. People are stupid. I stand by my statement. I about a year ago, we entered an era that if you don't want spoilers, you choose to avoid them. That you have to. You have to get off Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It's on the viewer at this point in the history of everything. I hate to say it because I hate that being a thing, but it is on the viewer at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, case in
Agreed.
point, Fortnite released the skins for female Thor and regular Thor. So it's like, if you didn't know, that's plastered everywhere now. Huh?
Female
Mighty
Thor? Wait,
Female Thor.
hold on. There's a female. I haven't seen it yet, Benny.
Well, then don't play Fortnite because Jane's in there. So
The
Jade is
poster.
female Thor?
Oh my god.
What?
it's in the trailer, Hudson. Anyway, thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.